Hey guys, thank you for joining this leadership podcast. I would like to share just for a few minutes this morning on the really important subject of marriage. And you might think that's a strange topic for a leadership podcast. Not really. The other thing you might think is, well, that doesn't really apply to everybody. Well, the truth is most of us are married or will be married. And if you are not married for whatever reason, the same principles will apply to other really important relationships in your life. And if I may just say to those who are married or going to be married, your marriage relationship is the most important relationship in your life. Now I'm going to take just one aspect of it because it's a massive conversation, and I'm going to start off by reading a verse from Proverbs out of the Message translation. And Solomon should know what he's talking about. He had, I think, 700 wives. Okay, pity he didn't listen to his own advice. But anyway, he says this: "Do you know the saying, drink from your own rain barrel, draw water from your own spring-fed well." Now he's likening his wife to a well, in the garden. Now, sorry if you find that offensive, ladies, but that's what Solomon's doing. He says it's true. Otherwise, you may one day come home and find your barrel empty and your water polluted. Your spring water, his wife, your wife, and the other way around, is for you and you only, and not to be passed around among strangers. Bless your fresh flowing fountain. There's a word. If you hear nothing else in this, there's the instruction for you to your spouse. Bless your fresh flowing fountain. I guess I could ask you, are you blessing your husband? Are you blessing your wife? And then he says, enjoy the wife you married as a young man. He's not just saying enjoy your wife when you were a young man. He's saying enjoy your wife that you married as a young man. So the enjoyment is not meant to end when we get old. You get that? He says, lovely as an angel, beautiful as a rose, don't ever quit taking delight in her body. Never take her love for granted. I suppose that's really the biggest truth in this. Never take her love for granted. Why would you trade enduring intimacies for cheap thrills with a whore? For dalliance, you might have to go and look that word up, with a promiscuous stranger. Now I want to just take one aspect of marriage. I want to talk about communication. See, in the movies like James Bond, they always portray the guy that all the women fall in love with as the kind of steely, mysterious guy. Doesn't say a word, doesn't smile, never communicates. You have no idea what he's feeling. They always portray that guy as the sexy guy, as the guy that the women fall in love with. And fact is, the truth couldn't be further. Because actually, when I listen to wives talk about husbands, all they want, not all they want, but they desperately long for communication. And so this notion that the quiet, mystic guy who doesn't express himself and doesn't feel anything is the cool guy, it's a load of rubbish. Your spouse needs you to communicate. May I suggest communication in two different areas? Firstly, personal communication. Personal communication is the kind of speech that encourages. I've got 3 E's. The kind of speech that encourages, it nurtures, it evokes, it calls out, it takes time to really look. I guess that previous verse that said, don't take for granted. That's what communication does. It takes time to encourage what you don't take for granted and recognize and communicate. I don't take that thing in you for granted. So number one, it encourages. Number two, it expresses. Okay. In other words, contrary to the James Bond kind of thing, it takes the time to figure out me put it in the first person, I would take the time to figure out what I feel, what I think, what I dream, what's important to me, and then I would find the words to express that so my spouse, in this case my wife, knows what's going on inside of me, deep down inside of me. She needs to know it. Now you might say, I'm not one of those expressive guys, or I'm not one of those expressive wives. You need to be. And part of expressing is being able to express an apology. And then the third E is the kind of speech that explores. In other words, it takes the time to question and then to listen. And it's not just expressing what's in you, but it's been able to explore what's in your spouse. That's the first kind of communication, it's personal communication. The second kind of communication is practical. And what I find with Hides and I is that so often I'm reasonably good at the personal communication, but I can undo all the good that I put in place through encouraging and expressing and exploring and inquiring. I can undo all of that because I don't communicate on the practical level. And that's basically the administration of the home, our finances, our diary, our church life, which is huge to us. Friends, this is a big subject. So I encourage you in your personal communication. Encourage, express, explore. And then on your practical communication, talk through your diary, talk through your finances, talk through what's happening with the children, talk through your holidays, talk through what church life is doing. This relationship, most important one you have on planet Earth. Thank you.